We went in there yelling and screaming and all that kind of stuff. I remember asking myself, like, why are these kids crying right now? Like, we're not here to hurt them. It's totally just my perspective, obviously, because what do they know, you know? We had that set up, we get back a little bit, and bam, we blow the door. That blows everything, and then it's on. Hello everybody, welcome back to Shift Fire, the exploration and appreciation of all things military culture. I'm Israel Wright, former Green Beret, and one of your hosts for today. And with me, as always,
thank you, Israel. What's going on, folks? My name is Cameron Fath. I'm a former Army Ranger, and you guys are tuned in to a new segment called Declassified, where Israel and I are going to talk about some personal military experiences that really molded us into the people that we are today, and lessons we learned throughout the military that really helped out. The focus of this segment is to really portray a more serious side of the military. Eating MREs and shooting guns is cool, but I think it is worth talking about a little bit more of the serious things that happens. Well, I know you guys are really used to seeing Israel and I together, but for this segment, one of us is going to be off camera to kind of help facilitate the conversation and bring out those senses and the emotions that we really felt during these specific experiences and scenarios. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
So I was deployed to Iraq in 2008 in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. At that time, what was called the surge had already happened, where we had sent a lot more troops into the capital, kind of secure the capital of Baghdad. So that kind of pushed all the action north into Mosul. So that was where we deployed to with 1st Special Forces Group. So 2008, we did a lot of night missions, right? Most of the stuff we did was at night because that was when most people were asleep, and that was where we could get around town and surprise people. We had the element of surprise. So we had this one operation where we were going out to find a bad individual. We had gotten some information on where he was living, so we spun everything up. This was when we got to do air operations, or we got loaded up in the Black Hawk, and I remember the feeling of flying low over the desert with my feet dangling out the side of the helicopter. We had our night vision on. It was pretty cool. This was about as textbook an SF operation as one could hope to have. So we get to the town, we get to the location, we kind of land outside of town where we pull security, and then the Black Hawks take off, and then we wait for the dust to clear, and then we walk into town. We walk for a little ways because we kind of make our way without waking up too many people. And I remember this was the time we had the air assets where you have the helicopter high above. You can't even hear it, but they're shooting an IR sparkle on the location of the house. And if you look at it through night vision devices, man, that thing lights up like a Christmas tree. But to the naked eye, you can't really see anything. And this was the mission where I actually got to be the breacher. So the breacher is the person who has some kind of shotgun or, charge and stuff like that. I get to go up to the door and actually blast the locks open. And so that was my position. I was very excited. I'd never been given that position before, The house itself, as we come up to it, it's still nighttime, everyone's still asleep. Most houses in Iraq have like an outer gate to like a courtyard or a front yard. So that one was locked, and then there were two doors. There was a door to the center and then a door on the right as you went into the yard. So we get up there, I forget what kind of charge we used on the lock, but I don't think it was like a strip charge or a shape charge or anything like that. We just had to defeat the lock. And so I think we had that set up, we get back a little bit, and bam, we blow the door. That blows everything, and then it's on. Then we're moving really fast, and I went up to the door to the center, and it was a metal door, so I tried shooting the rounds from my shotgun. It's graphite rounds, so those things are meant to go into the door and just like explode and splatter, and it's good for wood, but this was solid metal. So when that happens, you say no breach, so the guys behind you know that you're not going in that way. By that time, they had blown open the other door back behind me to my right. So we turn around, I put my shotgun away, pull my M4, and we flow through the house. So there's a living room right there, and we flow kind of straight, and there's a bedroom there, and I think that's where the family was. We flow around to the left, we go upstairs and we clear everything else, and it's all textbook, right?
How was it when you were flowing through the room? Was there a lot of furniture? Was it like you expected when you trained Battle Drill 6? What were the differences between your training and actually applying it in real life?
Actually, it felt a lot like training, and I was actually very thankful for the training that we got, because the house looked a lot like, something you might find out at the National Training Center out at Fort Irwin, California, where they make mock-ups of towns and houses and stuff. A lot of furniture, everything's set up just like a normal home. And then when we went into the main hallway, some guys had already secured the bedroom directly to our right. So I hooked up and went upstairs and stuff like that. And there was a lot of people flowing in. We had like two SF teams, and then even an Iraqi element as well, because we always went out with local elements, So we secured that house. It was from the time we breached the front gate to the time where everything was secure, And it could have been more than like a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. Like it was quick.
That's fast.
Yeah, it was real fast. We got up there, going into some of the rooms we went into, like there'd be like a shelf like right in front of the door when you have to like flow past it and stuff like that. But you get that mindset, you're in that mindset, and they do a really good job of training us, to make adjustments on the fly and to keep our eyes open and stuff like that. When I would get into those kinds of situations, whether it was the ambush that I've talked about or any of the operations that I did, I just get real serious, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff. I don't get like really amped up, especially when it's like a raid on a house,
Did you encounter anybody in the house?
No, everybody in the house, when we went to that house, was sleeping together in the same bedroom. It was a mother and a father and like 2-3 kids, and then their grandfather was even there. Those are some of the kind of unique memories that I have of that situation, because obviously they were scared.
Let me ask you, so you got the guy, right? You guys got the guy you were going after?
No, we didn't.
You didn't get him?
No.
He wasn't there?
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
The thing that I remember about this is that we had bad intel. It was actually the wrong house.
Wrong house.
Wrong house,
Okay.
yeah. I felt kind of bad. Like, I knew we didn't mean them any harm, but obviously they didn't. Us come busted into their house in the middle of the night.
Because you don't know, right? When all you
No.
know is you got a guy, and when you come across females and children and males, ma'ams in the military, what was your feeling when you saw the father? Because obviously, first impression, you think this is the guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when you saw him first with your impression of this is the enemy, what kind of thoughts went through your mind? What were you feeling?
Well, I mean, to be honest, man, like when everything was secured, we were on the objective and going through everything. The grandfather and the man were both zip tied, and the mother and the kids were kind of off and secured away from them and stuff. It became obvious pretty quickly that that was not the guy. We had an asset with us. He did a visual. He's like, oh no, this is not the guy. There was about a 5 to 10 minute period after we had finished everything where we were just kind of talking about what had happened, and then we had an interpreter there. We were talking to the people, and so they asked some of them some questions. I remember the grandfather had like a cut on his hands, so we like cut him off the zip ties, and we administered medical, treated him and stuff like that. And so I remember asking myself, like, why are these kids crying right now? Like, we're not here to hurt them. It's totally just my perspective, obviously, because what do they know,
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad for those kids, because I'm like, it's gonna be all right, kids. We're not gonna harm you or anything like that.
I'm assuming you guys like set up a wash site and were able to ask them these questions, and
Yep.
So how did that exfil look? And how did that exfil feel? Did you walk out of there? Did you get back on the choppers?
As we finished everything, wrapped everything up, said, assalamu alaikum, At the time, they had a compensation program with the Iraqi government where if you filed a complaint, you could actually get compensation if something happened to your property or something like that. So we gave them that information. We said, have a wonderful night, sleep well. And we got back out of there, and we basically just walked to the outskirts of town in a defensive formation, and the helicopters came back. They picked us up, and then we flew back to our base,
So when you got back to base, obviously it was a failed mission. You guys didn't get who you wanted to.
Yep.
What was the feeling like when you're in the ready room taking off your gear? Was it tense? Were people upset? Like, what was going through your mind?
I was like, okay, I did my thing, I did my job. I was disappointed. I was sad that we didn't have the right house, because I felt bad for like those kids and the grandpa and stuff. We went in there yelling and screaming and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, that happens. Like in a wartime situation where you're gathering intel and you have assets, sometimes you get it wrong. Maybe the assets don't give you the right information for whatever reason. So, that happens in war. Sometimes you have assets and they give you wrong information, or you have incomplete information and you take action and stuff, it doesn't work out. But I felt good that I had done my job. And obviously that was not the norm. Most of the time when we went out to get who we wanted to, we got them, and it was a successful mission in terms of getting the information or the person that we were after and stuff. It was just that particular one, it didn't go the way we wanted it to. But in terms of the execution of the operation, and that was what I was thinking, man, we did this thing right. We did everything right. It was just the wrong house, So I feel kind of bad about that, but I'm sure they were all right afterwards.
So why exactly did you choose this story to tell?
I wanted to tell this particular story because I thought about, these people are living in the middle of a war-torn country, one of the hot spots in the country at the time, Mosul, Iraq. I just remember feeling a little bad for them. I knew that we were there for good intentions in terms of wanting to get somebody who was a dangerous person. I just felt bad that they happened to get caught up in it and stuff, which I guess, that's just what happens when you conduct military operations in an urban environment. Some people are just trying to live their lives. Not all of them are. Some people are there to kill you. A lot of them are there Actually, who we were looking for was not even from Iraq. They weren't even from that country. There was a lot of Syrians, Iranians, Iranian officials and officers and stuff like that. We had a lot of foreign fighters. They were importing fighters to the conflict while we were there, and this was like 2008 and stuff like that. So I guess I wanted to tell this story just to remember the people that get caught up in the middle of a conflict and stuff sometimes, Fire team, I'm glad you could join us for this episode of Declassified. Let us know in the comments section what you thought about this particular episode. If you want us to do more content like this, we want to share stories, military history, not just our stories, but stories from other veterans, other military people. So if you like this, please let us know what you thought in the comments section. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to stay updated with Shift-Fire content coming your way, and we'll see you on the next one.
Don't look at me. You can.
Don't look at them, you look at me! Folks, today we are going to do a show called Declassified. I remember asking myself, why are these kids crying right now? We're not here to hurt them. It's totally just my perspective, obviously, because what do they know, As we finished everything, wrapped everything up, said, have a wonderful night, sleep well,